Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is a story that's just came to light that some asylum hotels, funded by the taxpayer, are being used as brothels. And I find this most bizarre because when you see these guys who go and try and film near them, they're full, crammed to the door with security guards. Now, this story only came about because a charity felt bad enough about the situation that they wrote to the Westminster government. And now stories are starting to come out about what's actually going on inside some of these asylum hotels. And I'm going to use for reference the Express article with the headline, "Asylum Hotel Shame as Taxpayer-funded Rooms Used as Brothels." Exclusive, some men travelled to the hotel specifically to pay for sex, whilst others were either staying or working there, the charity said. Actually working in the hotels and doing that. This is absolutely bizarre. Now, taxpayer-funded migrant hotels are being used as brothels with men travelling to them to pay for sex, it can be revealed. Women staying in a facility in London were engaged in prostitution, the British Red Cross told MPs. Some men travelled to the hotel specifically to pay for sex, whilst others were either staying or working there, the charity said. The revelations will prompt renewed fury over the use of hotels for asylum seekers and the safety of some of those staying inside them. When concerns were raised over the safety of the women, the accommodation provider, who Red Cross did not name, indicated that they were unable to intervene where consenting adults were having sex. So this is the people providing accommodation. Red Cross have taken this problem to them and they've just said, well, when people are having sex and they're consenting, we can't do anything about it. Well, you kind of can, because consenting adults having sex is legal, at least the last time I checked. However, prostitution isn't. And the people who provide accommodation, they're actually responsible for whoever's in there. And I dare say, if they weren't happy with anybody's behaviour in there, particularly the ones who work for them, then you could sack them easily, or if they were asylum seekers staying there, they could have them evicted. Or the worst case scenario, phone the police. The Daily Express earlier this week told how women in asylum hotels face sexual harassment, violence, exploitation and intimidation from migrants and staff. And I find this bizarre because, as I've already said, that if you see any of these videos where people go up to these hotels to video it, show what's going on in there, they're immediately confronted by more security staff than you would expect in a hotel. So the fact that this is going on under their watch kind of beggars belief somewhat. One woman described how groups of young men would drink together and smoke different things, creating an intimidating atmosphere. And the British Red Cross told the Home Affairs Select Committee, in London, our teams were aware of a hotel where multiple women were engaged in prostitution, with both men from within and external to the hotel paying for sex. Our casework teams supported women who did not feel safe in the hotel due to the number of strange men coming and going. But there appears to be no process in place for residents to register those concerns. When this was raised by professionals in a multi-agency setting, the accommodation provider indicated that they were unable to intervene in a situation where consenting adults were having sex. It appeared that there was little understanding of the concept of consent in relation to sexual exploitation and in the context of a hotel setting where residents were expected to live on asylum support payments of £8 per week. Our teams also reported not infrequent instances of hotel staff and housing managers in dispersal accommodation being sexually inappropriate and making sexualised comments to female residents. One caseworker shared an example of a client who was preparing to take a bath late at night when a member of the hotel staff attempted to use a key card to enter a room. She had preemptively put the latch over the door so he was unable to enter, Staying up to date with events around the world can be difficult, where it's impossible to consult a single source for the full story. Narratives that shape public opinion often just reinforce media and corporate-backed vested interests. It's hard to know what information to trust. See what the media is exaggerating, sensationalising, over or under reporting. That's why I've been using Ground News. Ground News is an app and website that combines news from around the world in one place so you can compare coverage. For every news source, you can see if it has any political bias, how reliable the reporting is, and who owns them. They even have a blind spot feed that highlights news disproportionately covered by one side of the political spectrum. Take a data-driven view on the news and stay current. Get news from thousands of sources worldwide in one place. I've been using Ground News to help me get all the world's news in one place and give a more balanced opinion on what we read and viewing who is telling us the truth and who isn't. Subscribe via my link to get 40% off the Vantage subscription. It's the one I use to get unlimited access to every feature. Your subscription can not only help my channel, but also help Ground News, as it makes the media landscape more transparent. Another example shared was a woman's underwear going missing in a dispersal accommodation following staff being in the room to inspect an urgent repair. More than 38,000 migrants are staying in hotel rooms costing £5.5 million per day. A further 65,707 are in other forms of accommodation. The Red Cross warning comes after the charity rape crisis warned women in asylum hotels face sexual harassment, violence, exploitation and intimidation from migrants and staff. A leading charity has warned. Some women are so scared in the Home Office funded accommodation, they form small groups to go to toilets together to prevent men from following them. One woman called Ola described how groups of young men would drink together and smoke different things, creating an intimidating atmosphere. The young mother told how her hotel residents would follow her around the hotel and leave notes in children's pram, propositioning her. One woman was allegedly sexually harassed so much by a member of staff at a hotel, she chose to go back to Iran and face the significant risk of her safety that had caused her to seek asylum in the UK. The problem is so widespread that Rape Crisis said they felt compelled to write to the Home Affairs Select Committee warning, "We heard deeply concerning stories of asylum-seeking women being subjected to sexual harassment, violence, exploitation and intimidation by some male residents and members of staff working in hotels and other Home Office provided accommodation. We have seen evidence of failings in vetting procedures and safeguarding training, as well as wholly inadequate complaints and misconduct processes, and a dearth of support for asylum-seeking women subjected to inappropriate behaviour and of abuse of powers by accommodation staff. This points to systemic issues of sexual violence and abuse rather than isolated incidents." It just beggars belief. Now, again, I'm just going to, for the third time, talk about this. The amount of security staff in these places is absolutely crazy. I'm actually trying to tie up an interview with a guy who worked in London providing security in one of these hotels, just to get an insider's view, no me telling stories, but from first-hand experiences. Hopefully I can do that in the next few weeks. But the amount of staff, I mean, I actually was in one for 2 minutes. I was ill at the time and I didn't realise it, and I was urinating more than normal and I really had to go, and I was allowed in one, escorted by security to use the toilet and come back out. And there was just loads and loads of security. So when you consider that these guys are under those conditions where there's security everywhere, yet they're still abusing young females in these hotels, then is it any wonder we see issues when they go outside of those environments where they're not surrounded by security 24/7? And we can see issues out in the local surroundings to where we have large congregations of asylum seekers in hotels and other types of accommodation. Well, it's no surprise to me. That's me just applying common sense and logic to a situation, something that unfortunately is not common in today's society. So if you want this video to be seen by a bigger audience, you can do 1, 2 or 3 of the following things. Click the like button, put comments below and hit share. And if you've not already done so, please consider subscribing and hit the notification bell for the channel. But the most important thing of all, unless you're the type of person that can't even restrain yourself enough when you're either a resident or staff at these asylum hotels, that you have to really be really bad towards females, then not you. But
everyone else, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.